I've been scrambling around all morning looking for every single article I can find on the subject of what happened to the numbers this morning. I have been on X all morning looking to see what all of the specialists and the folks that really try to figure these kinds of things out are saying. I've been listening to CNBC. I've been everywhere that I can think of to go and then doing my own analysis on top of that. And I have the answers. Believe it or not, I know exactly what happened, and I'm going to tell you now. So let's look at what we know. We know number one, the Berlin ramp after the shutdown for the terrorist act takes time for that ramp to get started. Okay, so you get a few cars, and then you get more cars, you get more cars. Well, by the end of March, you still weren't 100% ramped. And so you weren't getting 100%. So then these cars take a while to get to their destination. And then once they get to their destination, to get to the hands of the customers. So there would be an amount of cars that didn't get delivered, slightly more than you would normally expect in the pipeline because of that. Okay. You're going to count these in thousands, not tens of thousands, but it would be an impact. Then overall in Europe, Troy Teslike is saying that he's looking at about an 8 to 9% drop in overall sales of all models in Europe, but only about half of that would be the Model Ys. So that's not going to account for, again, more than a few thousands, not tens of thousands. So you get a little bit of stuff going on right there. Then you've got people talking about 3 ships coming out of Shanghai that are filled with Teslas, and they're going around the Cape of Good Horn, and maybe they've got 3,000 cars per shipment, per ship, going on their way to Europe or on their way to other different destinations. And that normally would have gone across the Red Sea into the Mediterranean. Could be. Plus, you do have lots and lots of ships, of course, that are traveling around the world at any given time. And you could have a few more than usual. So you could take either one of those that you want, and let's call it maybe 10,000. I'm going to say the maximum's 15. So 10 to 15,000, there's like no way that there's more than 5 additional ships out there right now than would be normally out there. So this could account for 15,000. Let's give 10,000 to Berlin. Maybe we got 25 out of the 50,000 accounted for there. Then you got the slow ramp of the Model 3 in the United States. And again, because that is on a ramp and the Cybertruck is on a ramp, both of those are on a ramp. Same thing we talked about in Berlin. The higher numbers at the end of production would not have been turned into sales. So you've got a little bit of a fussiness in there that's not going to translate into sales that were already produced. And remember, that's all we're talking about here. What we're talking about is 50,000 more cars produced than sold. We're not paying any attention to the general question of total sales. We're saying, what happened to these 50,000 that got produced that didn't get sold? So maybe we're talking about 25 maximum, maybe 27, 28,000 more cars in the pipeline or on ships or whatever because of those reasons that I just discussed. That's really all we're talking about. Because look, the Shanghai numbers, not that bad, 89,000 in March. That's a good number. Okay, that's maybe one of the better numbers ever for Shanghai in any given month. So what happened to the other, let's call it 25,000, maybe more lost units? Where are those other lost units that were produced and not sold? There's only one thing left. It isn't the Model 3 in the United States. It isn't the Model X or the Model S in the United States or anywhere in the world. Those numbers are normal. There's only one place that this comes down to, and it's the Model Y in the US. Okay? There had to have been way more Model Ys manufactured than sold in the United States. It's the only thing that's left when you pare away every other possibility. And believe me, I've looked at all of them this morning. So have been saying for months, I think it goes back to November of last year. I've said The numbers in 2024 are going to come down to Model Y shipments. Model 3 shipments are going to be fine. S and X are going to be normal. Maybe they'll be down or up a little. It won't matter. Cybertruck will be ramping and we'll sell all we can possibly make. I think Shanghai is going to be fine because they're maxed out over there. They're not going to be able to ship much more. Yes, Berlin can contribute maybe another couple 100,000 to the totals for this year if they really get going good. And so that is an important one to watch also, is Model Ys in Europe and Model 3s out of Shanghai. But again, there's some limitations on how many Model 3s we can get out of Shanghai in terms of increasing the totals. So we really come down to, for the rest of the year, it's going to be Model Y in Berlin, Model Y in the United States. And guess what? That's what I've been talking about also, is can we move that metal when you've got some real problems moving that metal, and especially in the United States? Let me just get back to that in 1 second, though. I also want to address the Elon issue. It's been an issue for 3 or 4 days now. We've got some kind of polling that took place that said that fewer people are considering a Tesla in the future, and they're saying it's because of Elon. Okay, I'm calling poppycock. Is that okay word to use? Nonsense? What kind of word would you like me to use? There is an Elon effect. There is no doubt about it. There are people right now politically who are making a decision not to buy a Tesla vehicle because of Elon Musk. And these would be almost 100%. Well, I'm sorry. The new people that would be in that category would be the people on the left. You know, who's the person who's scorned the most? The person who's scorned the most is the person who leaves the tribe. Okay, Elon was considered to be a liberal. He still considers himself to be a liberal in the classic sense, but he was considered to be he voted for Obama, he voted for Biden. So we've got him in that camp and leaving that camp. And so when that happens, you're going to be scorned. Okay. But I'm going to say, based on my understanding and expectation, all the research I've ever done on this subject, and this is something that I really have some background in. My major was psychology, but it was really social psychology. I've really been studying people and people groups and how they buy and what they do my entire life. And I'm going to tell you, maybe we're looking at 5 to 10% of those folks on the left. Not 5% of the total people, but only 5 to 10% of the people on the left that might feel strongly enough to make that decision. In the meantime, you're going to be picking up 5 to 10% of the people on the right who have been against buying any kind of electric vehicle because they think they're being forced to buy it. But the more that Elon speaks the language of the right, and people are going, well, I kind of like this guy, maybe I should take another look at his vehicle. So I think there's a real balance here. And right now it might be shifted a little bit to the negative, but over time, I think it's going to shift to the positive. But it isn't the reason for this number in the first quarter of 2024. I can tell you that for sure. I'm just positive of it. Okay. I will tell you what I think the reasons are. We're going to come back to that here in a second. Number one, why in the world have we waited so long to get the Model Y Plus into production, or even the Model Y halfway to Plus into production? I don't get it. There's a lot of folks that have been complained and said, oh, they made a terrible mistake by doing the Cybertruck first and doing the Gen 3 later. And I just don't buy that whole theory. I think they were just fine. I think it was a toss-up. You could go either way. And the Cybertruck has got a huge halo effect. I mean, there's just so many benefits to having done the Cybertruck. But I can't figure out why I don't think it would be that hard to get this Model Y Plus into production in Shanghai, at least, and preferably also in Austin. I know that maybe you don't want to switch over from the tooling, or, you're talking about metal work here if you're actually going to make it look different. But I think number one is you've got folks that are saying, I'm waiting for the Model Y refresh because the Model 3 refresh is amazing. And everybody's talking about how amazing it is. Okay, so now I'm kind of like, not me, because I would buy the Model 3 all day long, but maybe I'm a person that doesn't care that much whether I get the 3 or the Y. What am I doing? I've got my order in for a 3. I'm waiting for the 3. That's what I'm doing. And then there's this other group. There's another group of people that are going, I'm a Model Y person too, but I like the Cybertruck. And the more positive stuff that comes out about the Cybertruck, the more people are saying, I'm going to get a Cybertruck. I'm not going to get a Model Y. Both of those two issues are eating into Model Y sales right now. Doesn't that make sense? Let me know in the comments below. I can tell you right now, this house is going to be buying a Cybertruck as soon as we get the right price, next probably February or March, and we are a Model Y house right now. So I'm not saying something that doesn't make sense in terms of what's going on right here in my home. The Cybertruck has got tremendous benefits, and it's going to be, I think, generally the same person in many cases who would buy the Model Y is also going to be the person who buys the Cybertruck. And the Cybertruck is just a more exciting, more interesting step up right now, especially when you don't have a Model Y Plus as a choice. Anyway, I think they've also found that there's not any data out there right now that would show that a price decrease would help. It is no longer about price. It is about what people want to buy. And so I don't think you're going to see price decreases. I could be wrong on that. They might be testing and maybe they'll find out that they can get some evidence of a benefit from price decreases. But when you've got this halo effect from the Cybertruck and the halo effect from full self-driving and all of the advertising that's being done, and you still apparently have 25 to 30,000 more produced in the United States Model Ys than you could sell, and that has to be what's going on. Nothing else explains it. Then I'm saying it's cannibalization. It is Osborning. It is the Cybertruck and the Model 3 refresh that is hurting the sales of the Model Y. Love to hear your thoughts below if you think I'm all wet. Now, here's one last thing. What in the world is going on with the stock? Last time well, let me just check it again real quick here because it doesn't take but a second. We're down $8.59. That's nowhere close to what I would have thought we would be down with these kind of numbers. The stock market is down right now. The Dow is down almost 500 points. NASDAQ is down 188. And Tesla would have been down probably 5 points in this environment anyway, and it's only down 8.5. So this tells me that the underlying value is being established at this point. Could Tesla go down more? Of course it could. How will it go down more? If the market goes down more. It is going to go along with the market to a great extent. What could happen in the market? We've got two big down days in a row. Could we be looking at a 10% correction? Sure, we could. What would that mean for Tesla? That could mean a 20% correction. Could we be just looking at maybe a 5%? Not a full big correction, but one of these little minor corrections of 5%? Sure, we could. And that would probably mean a 10% correction for Tesla. But I think all of the bad news fundamentally is out of the way. All the good news is in front of us. All of the potentiality that we've been talking about for months and months and months now with regard to robotaxis, with regard to Optimus, and even with regard to Model Y. But I think they need to rush this refresh. They need to rush it. They need to put all hands on deck and get this refresh done, both in Shanghai, Berlin, and both in all three, in Shanghai, Berlin, and Austin. What do you guys think again? Let me know in the comments below. We will still have the Brian video out maybe around 1 o'clock. And then we'll have maybe a little later, maybe even 1:30. And then Nicholas Gibbs and I will be fairly late tonight. That'll probably come up. You'll probably be able to see that at about 5:45 or 6 California time. Okay, all those times are California times. I'm looking forward to seeing your comments. Please hit the like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. And as always, it has been great talking to you.